All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back. Hope you guys are all doing well. In this video, I want to answer the question, how much money do you really need to make? Now, this is a question that I like to ask myself from a foundational perspective. Anytime that I am starting a new business or reconfiguring my own targets and my own timelines, this is a question I like to start with, as I found that it has an almost sort of snowball effect with providing clarity into the other pieces to this sort of blueprint and this foundation here. Those things will just sort of naturally lock itself into place as you start with this kind of overarching question. A lot of those things will sort of lock into place. And again, I like this because starting with this question first and sort of thinking about the end goal in mind, and putting that plan in place, you can then reverse engineer your actions and making sure that your actions are aligned with hitting your targets in the short term and obviously over the long term as well. So that's what we're going to be covering in this video today. For anybody that is unfamiliar with me, my name is Kronfly. I am a marketing and operations consultant on my own personal path of mastering my own capital allocation structure and system. I like to make these videos just to share what has helped me up until this point. These are things that I, and out of my own natural curiosity, I've just pursued on my own. And so any of the frameworks and sort of, anything that I can share, through these videos, hopefully it'll have, a positive impact on anybody else that's, on a similar journey on, their own adventure. And hopefully this can provide some clarity and some guidance along the way. So going back to our question, how much money do you really need to make? Now, what I'll say first and foremost is, and you probably aren't going to like this answer, but there really isn't a very specific number. At least it's different for everybody. It really comes down to your own lifestyle, your lifestyle needs, what your long-term goals are, your financial goals, all that good stuff. And what I found out of personal experience, for me, especially coming from the internet marketing kind of space, so much of the headlines that I saw when I was first getting started was like how to make your first 10K a month online, or how to make, or how to build a 10K a month, business sort of thing. And what I found is like that became my sort of like golden target for so long. Like that was the ceiling that I put on myself. And I felt like, okay, if I can get there, then, my problems are going to go away, or, I'm going to become this, new special or specific person, or, we attach these specific outcomes or expectations to what that goal is. And, once it was interesting to like cross that goal and get there. And I think I even really like understood the principle before I even got there. But I think I understood. And once I got there, I knew like the real big key to this is not necessarily the number that's coming in on a monthly basis, but it's the ratio that you're creating between the money that's coming in and what's going out. So your inflow outflow and what that ratio looks like. And so this is a term that I'm going to use in this video and probably in future videos. But it's, capping what I call your burn, or basically your personal, basically what your expenses are. If you can cap your burn and be disciplined with capping what what's actually going out, and then increasing the amount that's coming in on a monthly basis, or increasing that surplus and increasing the ratio between what you're spending and what's coming in, that's really where you're going to find kind of the freedom that you're looking for, as far as like actual, financial sort of harmony in the short term, and being able to then allocate and invest that surplus that you're creating into investment vehicles that are going to compound over the long term, and then get you to, where your goals are over the long term. That'll be a separate video. We'll get into that for sure. Because, it locks into this framework here. But again, like I said, sort of building like, or having that target of 10K a month, like I aligned my actions to getting myself to that 10K a month. But as I got there and I crossed it, I realized like the things that I was doing to get me there was not necessarily going to get me to a bigger and better goal beyond that. Right. So like 10K a month gets you that 100K, 100K, a little bit over 100K, an annual income. Well, I crossed that goal, and just like, human sort of nature, I increased my goals and things, I wanted to do something bigger and better at that point. So my goal became, okay, well, I want, to build a 7-figure business. That is 10X what I was doing, right? So like what got me to 10K a month was basically selling my time. Like I became more valuable, I was able to price more for my time. But I found, and a lot of people found, this is not unique to me, that you sort of put a ceiling on yourself when you are just selling your time. Like I can only scale me so much, right? So now, you get to that point and you start to realize, okay, like I need to find, better positions as far as like how I'm positioned in, in a relationship. I need to look for different, levers that I can pull to basically increase that amount of money. And it basically became down to, and again, this is a little bit separate, but basically comes down to, okay, now that I want to increase my income, I essentially need to sell a process. I need to sell a system. I need to sell a productized version of my service to be able to put some operations in place and basically scale a team. That's what I have learned is like, okay, that's going to push me to this upper, the next, the real next level. Again, that's sort of just beside the point, but that's sort of my own personal, experience with this, up until this point. What this can do to you is like having a number where you're like, okay, well, if I just make six figures, or if I make 100K, or if I have this X salary, doing this, then like this is going to solve my problems, or this is going to get me X, or it's going to get me the specific outcome, and I have this expectation. And then you get there, and the feeling that you have once you cross that goal wasn't what you expected, and then you feel, a little burnt out, a little bit, upset really at that point. And so, it forced me back to the drawing board, and thankfully I found this equation, and I was able to sort of then, put this, kind of foundation in place, and then reverse engineer my business and my goals to match what these targets are, over the long term. So let's get into answering this question a little bit more. I'll provide, this equation for you guys. And what I love about this, of course, is that as always, applicable personally across the board. You can kind of tweak these numbers and make it fit your specific lifestyle and what works best for you. I'm not here to tell you right or wrong or what, you should be doing. I just want to supply these frameworks for you, and you can use this, obviously to your own advantage, as you are coming up with your own targets and, developing that clarity on your own. So let's get into setting targets now. Doing this, what we call our true needed income. This is so important because if you want to earn, let's say example, 250K per year, this is not actually your target. We need to take into account your personal burn, your business expenses, taxes, cash reserves, in addition to our monthly profit take home. Now, you can get to this number here, what your, yearly target should be through a few different things. But what I'll say is what I've always done is I have always tried to define what my ideal lifestyle is first and foremost. So put down, where I want to live and how much that's going to cost. What's the car that I want to drive and what's that cost? The food that I want to eat, the places I want to go, the entertainment, all that good stuff. Like put that down on paper, get very clear on what you want your ideal lifestyle to look like. And that'll give you a little bit closer to what that looks like, on a monthly basis, what that costs. And then you can, again, multiply that by 12, and that gives you an annual sort of figure. I would say, first and foremost, just start there. I've found that to be, helpful in pursuing this a little bit more. Because again, what I don't want to do is I don't want to be like, okay, well, I make 75K a year and, in my salary or X amount of money, and then I need to fit my lifestyle into that. Like, I just think it's it's flipping everything on its head. I'm defining what I want my lifestyle to look like first. I'm getting what that target looks like, and then I'm aligning my actions in my business or pursuing employment opportunities to be able to match those goals so that I can actually, again, hit my targets over the short term and over the long term. So for this example, we're going to use 250K. Again, this is not actually what your target is. We need to take these other things into account, and it'll give us a better idea of what that target really looks like. So in a monthly breakdown, using the example above, 250K rounded into monthly targets is right around that 21K per month of income. So the first two things that we need to add to this are our taxes and our reserves. Now, good rule of thumb that I've always followed with taxes is that you should just assume a 30% cut right off the top. So as money is flowing into your bank accounts, you need to basically just assume 30% of that. Again, this is, from a self-employed perspective, 30% of that I'm automatically just earmarking, and I'm transferring that into another business savings account that's just designated and has the specific use case of basically just holding for taxes. So, 21K comes in, I'm just automatically taking, the easy way to do this to get your number for that is, that 21,000 divided by 0.7 gives me about 30,000. So, it's close to like, 9-ish K that basically, on a monthly basis, I'm just going to, automatically just transfer into a business savings account, and it's just going to sit there, and that's going to be my tax cushion. That's the purpose of that money there. So, again, like the important figure here is if you want to take home and actually spend $21,000 a month, you need to earn more than that to be able to account for taxes. So again, going back to like the 10K a month, that's the goal. Like you want to earn 10K a month, just taking in taxes into account, that gives you a top line goal of a little bit closer to 15K a month. So even again, like I had this goal and like 10K was coming in, but I wasn't able to actually spend 10K. I was actually able to operate with more like 6-7-ish K, especially living in California. So that gives us a little bit of a deeper idea. So now we're at 30K a month in what our, kind of rolling monthly number is, or what our monthly target is. And now we need to take reserves into account. So obviously we prioritize and we like reserves because it provides security, it provides certainty. And most importantly, it's providing the freedom that you're after as far as having that, like protecting your liquidity and having your cash reserves on the sideline gives you such a big advantage. It keeps you in the game. It allows you to, pivot when things happen, allows you to, take advantage of certain opportunities, having a little bit of excess cash on the, on the books, something that I also took from 2020, like pandemic times. I didn't realize like how many businesses were operating sort of, either over leveraged themselves or were operating with so much, little kind of cushion between income coming in and how much, little cash that they had on hand. And like, it was wild to see like, just a couple months, like how much, it took people out. It was hard to see. And it, again, it gave me like, oh my gosh, like this is serious. This is real. And having that protected liquidity and cash on hand really is like life. It's like it keeps you in the game, it keeps your business running. So, I cannot stress the importance of that enough. So again, a reasonable goal to shoot for, using this example, is retaining 3 months of reserves over the next 12 months. So here's the math. So 21,000 per month in income, that gets us the 250K a year that we want to spend. 3 months of reserves equals $63,000 saved. So that 63,000 divided by the 12 months is about 5,250 a month. So important note, when we build reserves, we're not factoring the taxes into them. So what I mean by that is, we just say that $63,000 in reserves based on the $21,000 in monthly burn. So to accomplish this, again, that $63,000, over a 12-month period is about $5,250 a month. So now our new monthly top line revenue goal is $35,250 per month. And we got there by, again, we wanted to be able to spend $21K a month. So that is, what is going out the door, taking into account $9K a month in taxes and $5,250 a month in our cash reserve. So now that gives us a real defined target of what we're working against now, that $35,000 a month. So if I, as a business owner, as a service provider, if I know that I can charge, let's say 3, 4, 5, 7K a month, to get to that 35K a month run rate, I basically, then just reverse engineer, okay, how many clients do I need to be able to be paying me on that monthly basis for me to be able to earn that amount of money? And again, you just work it backwards. So just to do a quick recap, don't let your number scare you is really a big one here. You need to allow for like the, what you feel like is possible and almost like your own mental capacity to stretch and expand based on this framework and this number and, what we're doing. So again, the idea behind this, of this exercise is really just to build clarity and, define what your targets really are. Because again, so many people want something, but they're just unclear on what it is required to get, which leads to the feeling of being discouraged, feeling burnt out. Because again, we're never clear on the roadmap to take them to their goals in the first place. And again, like the hardest thing about this is knowing what you want and defining what you want. And then the other part of that is, what is it going to cost for you to be able to get to that? And are you okay with paying what that costs? Because for me to be able to build that certain business, it costs me a certain thing, whether, the time that I'm spending doing this or, whatever that might look like. There's a cost obviously associated with any of those goals. So again, like I talked about at the top of this video, I felt very personally inundated with this idea of making 10K a month. And like, that was what it was for the first few years of my career. It was every headline from every entrepreneur was 10K a month online business. And that was like my ceiling, what I set for myself as my ceiling for a really long time. And I didn't cross that goal until a few things happened. One, like I increased my own ceiling, but I also got around people that were making 100K a month online in their business. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is insane. I didn't even know this is possible. This is 10X the velocity of what I am earning. They're doing that on a monthly basis. And that changed like my perspective of time and leverage and like a whole lot of stuff. That'll be something that we'll get deeper into this video or into this channel. But again, just going back real quick. So if I wanted to actually make that 10K a month, just divided by the 0.7, and that 10K a month, I want to retain 3 months of those reserves over the long, over a yearly period. That's, adding to 2,500 a month saved. So now my total top line revenue goal is actually $16,785 a month is really what I would need to be able to do if I wanted to take into account the reserves that I wanted to save, paying for my taxes, and actually being able to spend that 10K a month across the board. That's actually what my new top line revenue goal is. So again, hopefully this equation provides a little bit of clarity for you to just be able to, define your targets a little bit more. In the next video, I don't know if this will necessarily be the next video, but in a future video, I want to talk about, then like sort of the back end behind this of like, okay, we're creating a surplus of income. What does this look like as far as like allocation goes? And what that looks like on a macro perspective of like, okay, consistently allocating the money over the long term can then, I can compound my way to this, amount of money, through some different investment vehicles. And again, that's just, the idea behind what I want to accomplish with this channel is just providing clarity around this. And, the capital allocation side of things is just something that I'm very interested about. So that's something that we'll get into in another video later in this channel. But again, hopefully this video here provided a little bit more clarity. You got some value out of this video. Thank you for, your time, your effort, your energy, your attention. If you're still watching this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you found this helpful. Feel free to share this with anybody in your network, or a friend that you feel like is, could get some value out of this video as well. To all my builders, I salute you. So hopefully you found some value out of this video here. Again, I appreciate your time, your effort, your energy, your attention. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment below if you found this video to be helpful. Feel free to please share it with a friend if you think they could provide value of this as well. Thank you again for watching. To all my builders out there, I salute you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.